Around the Bead podcast, tire talk for trucking, mining, agriculture, and more. Your home for fleet solutions, aiming to inform, pioneer, and entertain the tire world in connected industries. Sponsored by East Bay Tire, keeping essential industries moving forward.
Mics are back up, and so is Around the Bead podcast. I am Joe, your host, joined by my co-host, Big John, and today we have Steve Fossum, veteran of the industry, giving us his perspective on tires, services, what's changed the last couple decades. Gentlemen, welcome. Are you ready to kick the tires?
Let's go.
So, Fossum, tell us day one in the industry. When was it? What'd you do?
Day one in the industry would have to be October 1st. I believe it was 1988. I had just started with a new company. They were a retail farm supply company, and I sold everything from hand tools, power tools, pressure washers, firearms, ammunition, irrigation supplies, and tires. Was a brand new field for me that I had never sold before. So that was a little challenging for me at first, but overall I think it turned into a pretty good deal.
I immediately feel like we've already gotten way too specialized. We should be selling guns, gun safes, snack bars. I mean, why don't we diversify?
You name it, I've probably sold it at one time or another. And working for the retail farm supply company, I used to hate it when the Tulare Farm Show would come around because all the farmers, it was a great show, but all my farmers who attended that would always see new things, and my phone would light up for the next week. And it gave me so much work and business out of that. It was a handful,
So, what was the first tire you sold?
I'd have to say it was some medium truck tires.
Okay.
Going to a rancher down in Southern California. I remember he had called me and just asked for a 11R 22.5. And at that time, I knew nothing about tires. I called the local wholesale location, told him I was looking for some 11R 22.5s, and I can still remember that day, Bill, I could hear him, take a deep breath, and he'd go, Steve, you need to ask him, is this steer or drive or trailer? If it's a steer, what's the application? Is it over the road, off road? And he went on, and I learned an awful lot from Bill on that very first call, what to ask for.
So also noteworthy, I feel like we have less patience today and less knowledge than we did back then, because that is a relatively nice way to respond to somebody who is asking for a product and is not familiar with what they need or what their customer needs.
Sure. Even before I had started at East Bay here, I remember the day that Tom Van Ormer called up to where I was currently working at the time. And we chatted on the phone because I had known him at my prior place of employment. And Tom said, I'm looking for an 11L15. And I go, are you looking for an I1 or an F3? And he said, man, I wish I could get our salesman to say that.
Yeah.
So for me, I guess I had good training from Bill and Stan, the two guys at the wholesale operation, and things just took off from there.
And today you operate throughout Northern California, and you're servicing commercial fleets, equipment dealers with all types of tires. Is that right?
Yes, everything from ag tires to industrial tires, passenger, light truck, medium truck, specialty tires, all types of stuff now.
And I've always known you as a customer-first approach. I mean, what I've seen you physically do to get a job done, to get a tire to a customer, can't be stated on this podcast. I mean, it's just amazing. But from a specialty standpoint, do you have a passion behind any particular segment of tires or industry?
I have a passion pretty much for all tires. I I take a particular interest in industrial, the forklift tires. I did very little of that at my last place of employment. When I started at East Bay, it was the very first week. We weren't selling solids at the time, bands, cushions. Tom Van Ormer had actually taken a phone call for a solid. He put the customer on hold and turned to me and said, "You want to handle it, Steve?" And I was like, "Sure." And that was the takeoff of our solid forklift business.
What's the reason behind your passion for it? I mean, why forklift tires over anything else?
Because my background, if you don't know, is accounting, and numbers have always been very easy to me. So when I first got into tires versus irrigation and even other things that I love doing, shooting, ammunition, all that kind of stuff, it was just a number to me. And as I learned what those numbers meant, then it grew from there. So
that makes sense. So from that phone call to today, this is a good kind of segue. What have you seen change in tires?
There's been all kinds of changes. Aside from industrial, ag is also a line that I've always loved to sell, just probably because I worked in some ranches and farms and had to deal with the larger ag tires. I've always enjoyed ag tires, and the changes that you see from 20 years ago to now is IF and VF technology, higher load capacities, lower air pressures, and there's all kinds of things that benefits to the farmer. The lower air pressure, the larger footprint, the less soil compaction, better traction in the field, less slippage, better fuel economy, all those kind of things.
Could you point to one thing where your operator, your user, your fleet owner is seeing better performance than they were 30 years ago? And I say that with a little bit of asterisk. Sometimes I think people look at it as black and round, right? And what's really changed is still was black and round 30 years ago.
Well, the technology, especially in the IF and VF technology, if you look at some of the old Goodyear ag tires, they were like iron. They would run forever. As they've come out with newer, lighter sidewalls, better heat dissipation, and then the different technologies for IF and VF for lower, air pressures. Now you're getting into more longer tread life. Some of the Michelins you deal with nowadays, it's incredible as to watch them wear.
So in one sense, you're saying there were a lot of tires 30 years ago that wore quite well, but you're saying even today that those are being outlasted.
Yes, even by the newer tread compounds and stuff that they are using. The industry as a whole has had a lot of changes. I mean, if you talk about some of the original, what I call the beast tires out there was the old Trelleborg T459. Mm-hmm. I don't know if you're familiar with that, but when those came out, 35,
the block tread?
Yes. When they first came out 35 to 40 years ago, they basically had an unlimited tread life warranty on them.
Those were in like municipal applications, like the mowers. Yeah,
a lot of roadside mowers. That was a big part where they would sell them, and to try and push them, it was very hard because they were new at the time. People didn't know how they wore, and they were very expensive tires. Other companies, Nokia and Alliance, have come out with their version of them, and the Alliance is the one that we sell, the 550 multi-use. It's not quite the same as the old Trelleborg, but it's offered in a range of sizes where the Trelleborg is not. They have really cut that one down.
I don't know if they even make the T459 that much anymore, and the 550 and the 551 are both radials, right?
Yes, yeah.
459's been officially discontinued.
Has it now?
Yeah.
I thought there were still a few sizes. I remember sitting in meetings in Sacramento asking if there's any way Trelleborg would come out with more sizes. So
I think I remember
that phone call with Trelleborg.
Yeah, I think I remember hearing that. So we have a segment on the show called Blast from the Past, Favorite Beads, a tire that you love or love that's no longer produced. Is the T459 it?
The T459 in the ag line would probably be it. If you're talking about medium truck, it was the old G159 and G167, one of the greatest duos ever.
You two both share that.
That was mine too.
Yeah, that was
absolutely.
a great tire, a great combination. It didn't depend on whether you're driving local or long distance. That tire just performed. That was a great duo for a long, long time.
So we bounced around a little bit for our audience some might be in ag, some might be in trucking, material handling. Which segment of tires do you think has advanced the most? Is it truck tires? Is it forklift tires? Is it ag tires? Mining tires?
I would have to say it would be more your medium truck and ag. Those have been the biggest developments. I think there's still room for improvement in the industrial side, but yeah, with some of the new medium truck coming out, and watching the wear on those,
That surprises me. On the truck end, it makes a lot of sense. It's a huge market. 28 million replacement truck tires sold in the U.S. every year. But on the ag side, that surprises me. And also on the solid material handling end, you would think there would be a lot of performance gains there. There's not a lot less SKUs, a lot less sizes. It's relatively consolidated, big business.
Yep, but I think there's still definitely room for improvement on that. So,
where does it need to improve?
They've come out. I mean, some manufacturers have already come out with other compounds that are better for heat dissipation, more natural rubber, things like that. But the sizes that they offer are limited. It's not covering the whole range of sizes of the common forklift sizes that are out there. There needs to be more tires come out. There needs to be more of the gray non-marking or white non-marking options available. So,
what about the yellow or the green non-marking?
Yeah, well, that's really a personal preference, I guess, if they want a particular color. But white has been the majority of them in the past, and the majority now is the gray non-marking. Everyone's going to that. So
I do wish they would standardize it.
I wish they would too.
I don't think it gains anybody anything having a green or yellow non-marking.
I would totally agree with you.
Yeah. So not much changes in your viewpoint on the forklift tires. What about people? What about teams, customers? What have you seen change since 1988?
For customers, I think it's maybe being a little more knowledgeable in what they're looking for, or able to at least relate to you what they want. Sometimes you don't want a passenger light truck tire that's got an 80 or 100,000 mile warranty. That's been the problem with some of the manufacturers who have come out with these types of tires. They could certainly probably run out to 100,000 miles if you're putting the mileage on each year to need that. When I have a customer who tells me they want an 80,000 mile tire, my first question is, how many miles do you drive a year? And they're typically 12, 15, maybe 20. And I said, well, in 4 or 5 years' time, that tire is going to be dry rotted. The sidewalls are all going to be cracked, and it's going to have 50% tread on it, and you're going to be throwing it away.
You think that's because customers look at a mileage warranty as a gauge for the quality of the tire?
That could very well be, yes. And they think if it's got an 80,000 mile warranty, they're not going to have to change tires again for 6, 8 years, maybe 10 years. And they don't realize the tires in the heat, especially out here on the West Coast, and if you get down towards Arizona, New Mexico, Texas, those tires are not going to last in the heat. So.
Application-wise, I'm sure you got some memories there, some harsh applications. What comes to mind? Problems that you had to solve.
Can't think of anything particular right offhand aside from ag. You get a lot of these newer tractors all coming with these narrow row crop tires where the IF and VF technology, again, are allowing them to perform the work that's required, whether it's disking or planting or whatever. So they can carry the load, but a lot of farmers don't like those narrow little tires, and so they're looking for more of a flotation. And so I love working with them on those kind of applications where you've got to change rims possibly. You have front wheel assist tractors that you have to be concerned with the gear ratio, front and rear, and keeping within tolerance, your lead lag. It's always fun and a challenge to work with those, and I enjoy that. I really do.
What's your perspective on VF versus LSWs versus tracks?
I think they all have their application. In terms of soil compaction, I don't know if the track is actually the best out there. The LSWs with the super flotation tires that they're coming out with, there's some huge advances there.
Yeah.
In terms of the IF and VF, most manufacturers now are pretty much going with the VF. The IF is already starting to phase out, and the VF, the very high flexion tires, those are the ones that most people are focusing on now. So,
yeah, I agree. I think they all have their place, and we've had the Scott Sloan from Titan, who heads up the LSWs, on the show. Sure. We've got VF folks coming on to make their argument. But it goes to your point, is there's been a lot of advances in ag tires over the last 20, 30 years.
Yes, definitely a lot of advances. So there was one point just probably no more than 4 or 5 years ago when Alliance probably had more SKUs in the IF and VF than all the major brands combined at the time.
Yeah.
So they've certainly been a leader in that field, and everyone's slowly catching up now at this point. So
Yeah, it's been a slow process of people getting on board on it. Yeah,
Yep.
Especially here on the West Coast.
Yep.
So you mentioned forklift tires not advancing as much. What would you like to see from? You'd like to see expansion of tire sizing. You'd like to see more non-marking, but performance-wise, what do customers need out there out of that tire?
Longer wear. A lot of companies now are not working just one shift per day, 8 hours. Many times there's 2 and 3 shifts, so that forklift could be used for basically 24 hours a day.
Yeah.
So they need a better tire that will dissipate the heat better and not suffer from thermal failures. Thermal failures is a lot of the times you'll see when the tire is becoming unbonded from the band. And it's just because the heat is building up in there. The rubber on the inside is liquefying, and as it liquefies, it's got to come out somewhere, and it comes out through the sidewall. So,
You think adjustments, warranty claims are highest in that segment compared to others?
for me, yes, they are.
More than truck?
Yeah, I would have to say so. I've got tires right now to look at down in San Francisco for Alaska Airlines.
Yeah.
So,
And that's them running at the airport 24/7.
yes,
High speed.
high speed, and I don't know if it's the forklift manufacturer's fault or the salesman. Maybe they're selling larger forklifts to these customers and what they need. They're not carrying the loads on the front forks to counterbalance the weight on the rear, and so a lot of the weight's being carried all the time by the steer tires in the rear, and that's where I see the most of the failures.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a tricky one. I mean, the equipment dealer is a huge component nowadays, and I feel like there's a big gap in that process, or really opportunity to put a tire on that fits the application that the equipment is being sold into. But instead, that equipment just goes straight from the dealership into the application, and we don't find out till later that there's tire issue.
Correct. Yep.
Steve, I sit here and I listen to you break down different segments, and it's a testament to the knowledge and the passion that you put forth in every segment. Do you feel there's a difference in the value that gives the customer today versus, say, 15 years ago? Think customers value it differently?
Yeah, I think more of our customers are educated now and are familiar with some of the problems that they've either seen in the past through their dad or granddad or whatever. And I think they're becoming more knowledgeable and are learning what to ask for. And even to the equipment dealer, when they're looking at a tractor, they're asking if those are the right tires for their application.
And equipment certainly has changed as well. It's more expensive. I think you got customers looking at it going, hey, how do I operate this better? based off its cost. It's no longer something that's lower priced and lasts longer. You have to take better care of it.
Yep. And a lot of the new things now on some of these newer tractors are the, GPS navigation. Pretty soon there's not even going to be an operator in a lot of these tractors, especially some that do the weed, applications for all controlled by AI, I guess it is.
Now we're getting into an interesting topic. Okay, so if there's no operators, what does tire wear look like?
And how do you? I guess there's going to be sensors on board too that will notify low air pressure, just like there is in your passenger and light trucks right now. There's going to have to.
We talk about it almost every show. I swear everybody's like, "Where's the tire pressure solution? Where's the tire pressure solution?" Whoever comes up with it first is going to make a ton of money. That's for sure.
Yeah.
But that's kind of a question: is can you run driverless without tire pressure systems?
I don't think you can without. I think you have to have that in there. And I think the technology is already out there. It just has to be introduced more into the ag line. I think it's coming, and it's going to be here any day, actually.
Any day.
Any day. I think it's going to be here a lot faster than we realize. I mean, even with the GPS navigations already, they pretty much have an operator in the cab, so when they get to the end of the row, they can turn it around and line it up, and then they just hit the button for GPS and take their hands off the steering wheel, and there they go.
Yeah.
So
I still think you have people sitting in there for a while because interconnecting those systems are so hard. I mean, we have Conti pressure systems now that you can run with Bluetooth, but I still see these AI. I guess it could go twofold: is that they got to interconnect the systems, or they got to make the tires flat proof. But right now, those AI sprayers like a Gus or they used to be named after a donkey, the little carts that go out in the produce fields.
Burrow or something.
Burrow, thank
Burrow?
you.
Okay.
I think they might have changed names
Okay.
but they have pneumatic tires on there. If that thing goes flat, it's still going to keep running.
Are we pretty close to getting to the point where air pressure monitor systems are mandatory on all equipment, on all tires?
I think we are. I think the manufacturers are pushing for it. I think the customers, definitely as we move in towards the AI, are going to need it. I think it'll be required in there.
I think they absolutely need it. What surprises me the most, and you tell me how your customers feel about it, it's not always an easy sell to add a pressure monitor system to a customer's fleet.
Yeah, because there's an expense. Budgets run pretty tight as it is. And so that's just another expense to throw on top that they're looking at.
It has to come from an OE level.
Yeah.
I mean, there's not the cost benefit analysis is too big of a hurdle to say put in these CTIS systems that they have for tractors, or you buy the system and you have to be tied to that tire brand. It doesn't make any sense to them. It's got to be at an OE level, and then they've got to lease the equipment or spread out their payments to incur that additional expense. But you look at what OE makes on some of this stuff. They're going to make 300%, 400%, 500% markup on an air pressure system. So what we look at is reasonable if we were selling it out there directly to an end user. It's going to be hugely expensive on the OE side. Doesn't matter what piece of equipment it is. Yeah.
Very true.
Have you done a service call? Not you personally, but on an AI operator-less piece of equipment yet?
Not that I'm aware of. Not yet, anyway.
Yeah.
I'm sure it'll be coming, though. So
Yeah.
it's funny how things have changed, though. I mean, even 45, 50 years ago, I was sitting in tractors up in Oregon, and I mean, even the swathers that we had, I mean, we were moving 2, 3, 4 miles an hour. Now you got swathers running 10, 12, 14, 15 even.
Yeah.
It's amazing, the change from sickles to rotary heads, new applications, laser-leveled fields. It's fun and interesting both to watch the progress.
Now, you used to work on a farm up north as a kid, or what?
Sure.
Tell us about it.
Well, it goes way back into about 1974, 75. My mom was a single mom at the time. It was too much for her during the summer when the kids were out of school, so she would ship us up to my uncle's ranch in Oregon.
Yeah.
The first ranch, a cattle ranch. I'm trying to remember exactly how many acres of hay we had, probably around 1,200 acres. It was a 40,000 acre ranch, 20,000 owned and 20,000 leased from the BLM. It was an interesting life up there. And then we moved over to a smaller ranch, about a 6,000 acre ranch. And that's where I got into first driving our old 1958 Chevy Apache pickup.
Yeah.
Moved from that to our brand new 1971 Ford F-250. And then from there, got to sit on the back of a rake to be drug all over 300 plus acres of fields up in Oregon. Graduated from that up to the baler, from the baler to the swather, from the swather to the harrow bed. So I've driven them all.
That explains a little bit more of the passion behind ag. I always wanted to know.
Oh, okay. And then from there to the cat, dragging a big disc behind you, disc in fields.
How old were you when you were doing that?
I started when I was about 13.
Yeah.
Yep. And did that all the way up through 1920, and then moved back to California.
So coming back to tires in 1988, what would you tell your former self? What would you tell a young man in 1988 starting the tire business? Some positive advice, Steve.
Pay attention. Learn your product.
Yeah.
I think if you learn your product and know about it, then I think you're more passionate, and I think your passion comes through to the people that you deal with. I've talked with some farmers out in the Dixon-Davis area, Sacramento, and stuff like that, and just after the first time or two talking to them, they can see your passion, and they've turned to their foreman in the shop and said, "This is our tire guy, call him."
Yeah.
So I'm like, thank you.
So that advice you'd say holds true today.
Absolutely. Yep. Because if you know what you're selling and you are passionate about it, I think it will come through and it will benefit you tremendously. And that passion will move on to other aspects of your life too.
Yeah. That's insightful.
Advice, yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Well, anything you'd like to see change in the tire industry over the next 10 years or so?
Nothing that I want to see aside from, what we've already talked about on the industrial side, more applications, different tires for different specifics, but I'm excited to see where the changes are going to come, whether it's OE driven or if it's something that's needed out on the farms and the ranches or the highways of America.
Yeah. Okay, last one I got for you is, what do you think our value is as a tire dealer, as a tire advisor to customers, to fleets, to farms, to operations that use tires? What's our value?
I think everything that we represent and bring to the table with the specialist in each field, whether it's OTR, whether it's mechanical services, whether it's industrial, the specialists that we have now, if we don't have an answer, then we have someone in-house that typically can provide the answer to us. And if we can't do it in-house, then we can reach out to the manufacturers. But 99% of the time, I think we can handle everything in-house right now.
Solution driven.
Solution driven.
Yeah.
I like it.
I love it.
Yeah.
All right, Steve, any last words for our crew out there?
No, just excited to be here and see how things progress and looking forward to the future.
I love it. Thank you, Steve. Appreciate
Thank you.
Around the Bead podcast, tire talk for trucking, mining, agriculture, and more. Your home for fleet solutions, aiming to inform, pioneer, and entertain the tire world and connected industries. Sponsored by East Bay Tire. keeping essential industries moving forward.